Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ATR's War, Bedlam Media's premier wrestling podcast covering AEW to WWE. I'm Sam, the SLB, future governor of NXT and co-host of ATR's War, ATR Rising Sun. And alongside me today is the man behind X, Wrestling's Nostradamus, Scott.
Yes, back from my week on assignment. Some really fun topics to talk about, so I'm looking forward to that discussion.
And of course, the man in black, the main recipient and the beneficiary of the Clone Ethan 2026 campaign, and my co-host from HR Rising Sun and the current Bedlam Media champion, Ethan.
I'm also back from assignment, so yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get to it.
And also joining us, being re-signed officially with Above the Ring, a former co-host, the original third man. I'd say the original third man.
Yeah.
The man with the stats, the original stat man, John.
I didn't come back quite as quick as R-Truth did, but I did re-sign with you guys.
Statman is ATR. Get the graphic up, baby.
Ethan, we should make that logo where it's like kind of like the so-and-so's all elite, except it says ATR is war, and it's just John. I gotta find the most like unnerving photo of John, just be like, all right, guys. Before we begin, please make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. We have just hit actually about 3:30 by the time we drop this. By the time I hit the record button. But guys, follow us on everything. Before we begin, guys, we got a heavy month coming to us at the time of recording. This week, not even a pay-per-view. We're starting the month off with AEW Dynamite 300 and Collision 100. We do have on the 11th Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor. The 12th we have All In, as well as the Great American Bash and Saturday night's main event. Followed by the 13th, we do have Evolution. And then, just because I need to bring it up, Ethan and I are covering G1 Climax starting July 19th. So,
hell yeah, let's go.
Oh yeah, loaded month. And then that's why we need to clone Ethan, because there's so much stuff that he covers. And now we have all the Mexican content we need to cover. So we need a few more Ethans to be doing this. Yeah, we just had this conversation, what we were going to discuss. First and foremost, I think Jim Ross has announced that he's officially cancer-free after his procedure. You know, super excited about that. Happy for him. Don't think I have too much to add to that, guys. Anything else? Just like, yeah, woohoo.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, I mean, he's iconic in the world of wrestling. So the fact that he's beaten cancer is pretty outstanding.
Right.
It's good. It's good news. I try to forget Ric Flair's comments about his cancer diagnosis.
That's true. I thought about that. Yeah.
So I said, but that's good for JR.
Yeah,
good for him. Yeah.
Take that, Ric Flair.
In the words of the metal community, I wonder what Corey Taylor thinks about Ric Flair's comments about Jim Ross announcing he has cancer.
Oh no! If you know, you know.
Attention seeker. No, just like, come on.
When John and I had our old music podcast, I think there was like a streak for a while where he and I, it's like, these are our thoughts, but I wonder what Corey Taylor thinks of this. Just random. So a couple of other things we wanted to talk about this week. Obviously, we're in a fascinating time between two promotions, three if you want to count TNA right now. Now we're seeing talent go back and forth more than it's been. For a while, it was very WWE to AEW heavy, and now I feel like it's gone the other way. There's obviously some stragglers we have going on. But I want to see, and Scott, I'll let you start here because you did bring this up. Pros and cons. Who do you think is strong right now? Who do you think not so strong?
I would say, at least for now, my top ones, I'd say for one and the other. For going from WWE to AEW, Ricochet, I think right now is probably one of the stronger ones. His promo work has. I wish they would have let him do what he's doing now and WWE, and it would have, yeah. He's just doing really, really good. And on the other end, even though he's in NXT, I got to give props to Ethan Page. He's another one who's kind of like forgotten when he was in AEW, and then he showed up in NXT. He's won both the NXT Championship and the North American Championship in a 1 year's time. I think he said on his recent interview with CVV, he did it in 364 days. So that's pretty damn good to have both singles titles in 1 year's time. So, I mean, there's a plenty of others that have bounced back and forth, but I still have a lot that are right now in the bucket of to be determined. So you have people like, Mariah May or Blake Monroe now, Aleister Black making his return. He's kind of there. He's stuff simmering, but we don't know yet. Ricky Saints, there's a list of people that I'm still like, what's happening here? So that's my opinion.
John, Ethan, either you want to take the cake here?
I'll let John go.
Oh, he's looking at me. All right. So this is a little tough for me right now because, well, Scott mentioned it, so I'll jump in too on that. The jump from WWE to AEW, which we're not really seeing nowadays, since I think it really flipped when Vince McMahon was gone. AEW, everybody was trying to leave WWE. Well, not everybody, paraphrasing, but they were trying to join AEW because it was the new thing.
Mm-hmm.
Vince McMahon leaves, and now we see that reversed, essentially. On the AEW side, I think, I think most of you guys know my feelings on that in general, really. But I think what Toni Storm is doing right now, really, the people really enjoy. What she's done with this timeless Toni Storm, character, she's really embraced it, and then the AEW audience eats it up. Yeah. They love it. And then on the others, in the men's, as far as the men's, I think right now what the Hurt Syndicate is doing is pretty solid. People loved it those few weeks when MJF was trying to join. Mm-hmm. I think it might have been the thing that the audience was the most into for a while. I think the problem is they don't really have a tag team to work with.
That is true. The teams that end up challenging, Shelton and Lashley get pretty demolished pretty quickly. So it's tough to, and they keep splitting up all their good tag teams. So it's like, how are we going to build a division and have credible challengers for the Hurt Syndicate? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and then reversing that, I know CM Punk has been there for he's over a year now, essentially. But I think that was a blessing for him to go back to WWE. Really, so that would be my favorite there. Those are the big ones I got for you, I think, right now, Sam.
Ethan?
So I'm going to swing over to TNA. So Indy Hart, I'm surprised God didn't mention her name, Indy Hartwell.
I did mention it before we started recording, but it's just like, we'll see. And I purposely left out like Punk, obviously Cody Rhodes being the biggest probably out of everything here on both sides. It's just like going out. I went for the, who's the talent that really wasn't used on either side. Now they're starting to come up.
Ash by Alden's Dana Brooke. She's I'm trying to think top of my head. AEW. Well, I mean, back to representing like John said, CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's gonna title match in Saudi Arabia once this shot. There's a lot. Aleister Black's still trying to figure out what he's doing in a way because he's been dealing with Mel Don't Miss.
I did see that there were articles coming out that he's supposed to get a really big push.
I did see that as well, so that should be interesting.
I'll believe when I see it.
There's also rumors that going into the gaming world for a second that he's going to be replacing a celebrity in 2K25.
Travis
So
Scott.
that'll make some people very happy. So
Yeah, the rumor's Trevor Scott. Yeah.
Well, I was making a joke.
No, that's a legit rumor. It's Trevor
yeah,
Scott.
he was supposed to be like
Oh.
that celebrity guest #1 for the first DLC pack that came out a month or two ago, and then it never came out. The rest of the wrestlers did, but that one didn't. So people have been pissed. The second one literally just dropped last week, and that was a full 5. So people are still like, what the hell is going on? 2K hasn't said anything about it, but now the rumors are that it's going to be Aleister Black's going to be taking Travis Scott's place as that free DLC. They've already put all of his stuff back in the game, like his motions, his like victory stuff. So everything's there. It's just a matter of flipping a switch and bringing him back. So having that old theme, having that entrance back, it's going to be fantastic.
I just had something in my head. Andrade, kind of, in a way. I know he lives last year, but since we're big topic. But Indy Hartwell, like, I mean, think about when she left WWE, like, already is the House Score Women's Champion. Already. There was another one I just had in my head. I'll let Sam go because I can't think of who it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cody comes to mind. Cody was a big, I think, game changer. I will. I think he's. I'm gonna make a claim here, and it's hard to argue. In the formation of the current wrestling environment is just as important as, and it always goes back to Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. I will never forget when that match happened at Wrestle Kingdom and that promo happened. And Cody leaving WWE, going over, reinvigorating the indie scene into pretty much turn it into an amoeba and going, oh no, we just got our whole other conglomerate over here now. Mm-hmm. And then going, oh, I'm going back to WWE. And if I'm not mistaken, he was like arguably the first one that was signed. If I recall.
Sorry, Sam, because I think him and Brady put out a press release that they're stepping down as EVP, and I forget what Brady was doing at the time. And then there are people like, oh shit.
And he had wrestled the AEW without a contract for like the last like 3 or 4 months that he was there. So he was just kind of like, they were just winding down everything, and then all of a sudden, he shows up at Mania against Rollins, and then they have their beautiful 3-match arc. And I mean, shit, that Hell in a Cell when Cody takes off that jacket and you just see his entire like pec and arm is just like 18 different shades of color.
it's like black, blue, yellow,
everything. And he wrestled that match. I think that match was like 30 something minutes. I'm just like, how did he do that? Jesus.
But going back to the Mania one, actually, John and I, we were sitting in the room with each other during that Mania, and we had both started, I was with Ashley, and he had just started dating his girlfriend at that time. And I remember you and I are like this on the couch, and they're both like, what do you got? I go, we don't know. We don't know if this is going to happen. Well, it sounds like it's going to happen. It's like, I don't think you realize the magnitude of what you're about to witness. I still don't think she understands, if I'm being honest with you. But then I think the kicker was. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say they were both puzzled by it, but we were like excited, and then when his music hit, we jumped out of our seats.
And that was, I think, the other piece too. The other piece was he came back with his current theme song.
Yep.
Well, he said in the interview that Finn, when he came back, he said like Vince wanted everything he was doing, like the Nightmare and stuff, like keep that. He didn't want to change nothing. I guess Bruce went to his house or something.
Yeah.
Which is weird because everything prior you couldn't do that.
Right.
Nope.
Yep. And you always went to Vince. Vince didn't come to you. So that's also a big deal that Vince made the trip to go to see Cody to say, hey, we want everything you're doing, theme and all, gimmick and all, everything. Let's go. And that was a moment. That was crazy. I would probably say, like, for me, the last moment that was a real big surprise is when AJ Styles debuted at the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the last time, because I remember I was watching that. I was living in Massachusetts at the time, and I was with my ex, and that music hit, and I was like, "What is this?" I'm like, "This is new." And then I saw Phenomenal, and I lost my goddamn mind. And she looks at me like I had 6 heads. I'm like, "You don't understand." I'm like, this is, and he kept his name.
Well,
like, what?
And what was crazy about Cody was that it felt like it kind of felt like it was just a badly kept secret, but yet we still didn't really know.
Yeah.
Like, until we heard that music hit, we were like, it was one of those weird things where we felt like there was some certainty to it, but like not completely. So I think that's what made it even more impactful that night.
Like, it's like we were ready for disappointment, because they've done things like that before. Like they build up something, you think it's going to be something, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
But then when you hear, you know, wrestling has more than one royal family, it's just like, oh my god, this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So not only did he change the landscape leaving WWE, he changed the landscape coming in. Because now you have some wrestlers. Who else came in with their theme song? I feel like there's Punk obviously, came back with Cult of Personality. I swear there was like one other person. Or it might be just the names, like Ethan Page. Ethan Page shows up, he's Ethan Page.
I think Ethan's was his theme the same too?
No.
I know Jordan Grace's was for a while, and now they've just recently changed.
Jordan Grace was the one I was thinking of.
Well,
yeah.
Well, one thing I wanted to ask you guys really quick is where I get confused with the jumps from AEW to WWE that have happened as of late. It gets confusing as to who keeps their name and who doesn't. Really, or who chooses to change their name. We just like Ethan Page was still Ethan Page. Ricky Starks became Ricky Saints. Mariah May was it Blake Monroe?
Blake Monroe, yeah.
So it's interesting to me is to see how do they decide this. I wonder, like, legally and all that, and if they choose to change their names or not.
From what I've seen in the past, like read online and whatnot, normally when wrestlers get signed, WWE wants to either copyright their name while they're there, or if they don't want to, if the wrestlers don't want them, then they ask them, all right, then let's come up with a name change and kind of go from there. So I guess, like, I would say probably with Ethan Page, he's like, whatever, it's fine. I'm going to be here for who knows how long. It's fine. We'll keep it. I think Ricky Saints said it had something to do with New Orleans, which is why he changed it to Saints. And Blake Monroe was kind of like a mix between, I believe it was her niece for Blake and obviously Marilyn Monroe for her last name. So
Blake was her niece, Scott. Yeah.
Okay. So they're kind of going in that. So I like the fact, I like the explanations that we're getting, because before they would just change names and nobody would actually know why. But now we're getting reasons. So it's like, it kind of softens the blow, because personally, I would have loved to have seen Mariah May be in NXT, Ricky Starks. But, it goes back to like Walter and Gunther,
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny? How people keeping their names is like Jordan Grace kept hers.
Yep.
Ray Face kept his.
Yep.
Penta
had a slight change.
Slight.
Honestly, though, Penta's better than what he had in his AEW name. It was too long.
Penta is like the luchador version of John Morrison.
Yes.
Oh, he's not wrong.
He has a different name for every company he's in.
Yep.
Pentagon Junior, Penta Dark.
Yep.
Lucha
he had 2 of them when he was in Lucha Underground.
In AEW alone, he changed his name like 4 or 5 times.
Well, I think that was because who was he with? Was he with AAA?
Yeah.
And they said, no, his name's ours. You can't use it on AEW television. So they had to change it.
Yeah, Penta House Girl and then Penta.
He had like 5 different names in AEW. So Penta, perfect. Just go.
It's easy. We'll just keep it there.
Yep.
Yeah, Cody's a big one. I think Tony, Ricochet, obviously. Tony Storm, I think I've said this a million times. To me, Tony Storm is the best thing on the women's division in any company right now.
Yeah.
And I know that would like ruffle a lot of feathers about Rhea or Bianca Belair or what. No, what Tony's doing is just untouchable.
For the men,
Right now, absolutely, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Like you could make an argument maybe a couple years ago when Rhea was at like the pinnacle with her stuff with Dom. Like I think that would have been like peak female wrestler for everywhere, storyline and wrestling stuff. But now I do agree with you. I think Toni Storm right now is the pinnacle right now of women's wrestling.
Yeah.
In regards to like talent that have on the flip end of all of this, I can't think of anybody right now because when they see them make the transition at the moment, they've gotten a lot better. I know AEW used to just sign people and then you sign them, you get their title match, then they'd squander.
Right.
The one in AEW that kills me, kinda, she's women's champion, so it's not as bad. But like Athena, to me, it boggles my mind why that woman is on Ring of Honor. She's not developmental talent.
Yep. Yeah, I feel like that's probably one of the, even though yes, she's like the forever champion of ROH. That's great, but not everybody has ROH TV, so they can't watch the product.
Yeah,
so she's buried. She's disappeared. Yeah, thank you.
And then WWE, they're pretty good at sifting through people.
Yeah.
Being like, oh yeah, we're going to use you. We're going to not. They've gotten really good at that. The one that and again, it's so early, but he came in around the time Alistair did, but I feel like I see him less. Even though he's on TV more frequently than was in AEW, was Rusev.
Oh my God. There was with, as far as when he was AEW, there was like, they couldn't come to an agreement with like what direction for him to go creatively. So he just packed up and went back to Bulgaria for the rest of his contract.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he wrestled Del Rio before he went back to WWE. And when they said he was released, everybody's like, well, back to WWE he goes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do enjoy what he's beginning to do with Sheamus. I like the references back to the League of Nations, which a lot of people hated as a faction, but the fact that they're tying it into their current beginning of their feud is going to be good. Those matches that they're going to end up having, I hope to God we get a best of series. I don't care if it's 3, 5, 7. Those two are going to absolutely beat the shit out of each other, and it's going to be glorious to watch. If we're going to talk about maybe not necessarily bad, but kind of forgotten, I would, and Ethan mentioned him, Andrade. He had a great best of 7 series with Carmelo Hayes. He's been in the U.S. title hunt, but then he just kind of disappears, and then they bring him back for tournaments, and then he disappears again. So I think for me, that's probably that. On the AEW side, I'm trying to think of, other than Athena, which Sam mentioned, I'm trying to think if there's anybody who's been brought in that
recently.
Really hasn't.
Recently?
Yeah, like recently that's been brought in that's not really doing anything.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, because you could go through. It's funny. I actually was Googling it right now, and I'm like, bad transfers from one to the other. Parker Boudreaux comes up, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
Oh my God, he disappeared.
Yep.
So did Trench. Remember that guy with the tattoos all over his face?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But AEW, I will say they've gotten really good with not signing everybody who leaves the E.
Yeah, I think they said over the past year they've kind of buckled down on who they're going to sign, who they haven't, and stuff like that. So
I'll literally look for that article right now as we speak.
But it's nice to see like some of the other talent that has left WWE has done other things in wrestling. I think like Dijak being a big example, or what is he? Is he going by Donovan Dijak again in MLW. So I'd probably say he's probably one of the bigger ones that's kind of going in that direction. But a lot of the other stars that have been let go, they kind of just fizzle out or they disappear for a while. I know Cedric Alexander was just signed by TNA, so that's going to be fun. He's already in an angle with Mustafa Ali. So for those of you who watched 205 Live, or the heart and soul of 205 Live are now under the same umbrella in the same company. So that should be a lot of fun to watch develop.
It's good. So they TNA, like, I know we're recording this on Thursday, but they did a sneak peek of their TV taping last Friday on their TNA Plus, and then the VOD will be tonight for recording this. I say it's a better fit for him in TNA, agree. Honestly, because AEW, like, yeah, I know we're all gonna get the Hurt Syndicate reunion. He goes in, but honestly, I don't know. I think the reason he didn't go back to AEW is because the whole Big Swole with his wife.
Well, that's
a couple years ago.
That is true. It's a good point. And I feel like if he went to AEW and they tried to do the Hurt Syndicate or the Hurt Business full reunion, I feel like he'd get shuffled out the moment that team, falls apart. It's kind of like, I know like Buddy Murphy's hurt, but once Alistair left, Brody, he's kind of doing some single stuff. Buddy's obviously hurt, and Julia Hart's kind of there in the women's division. So, yeah, the Hounds of Hell, now called the Hounds of Hell.
I remember that promo at AEW where he talked about, like, right after Alistair left, and people were like, "Is Alistair the dog?"
No, right? But it's kind of crazy though. Like when you see like major people in like a faction kind of like leave and go to the other place, and how the rest of the squad tries to like reinvent themselves or carry on. It's an interesting dynamic. So, and it's unfortunate that Buddy got hurt because him and Brody they're a good team together too. So it also makes me wonder now, once their contracts are up, will they try to go to WWE? Do we get the House of Black in WWE? Don't know. Could be interesting.
No.
Yeah. Who now? Before we switch topics, Ethan? I'm going to ask you because I have a feeling whose contracts are up in 25.
Oh shit! 2 minutes. I'm trying. Hold on. Let me think for a minute. Joe Hendry.
Yes, that's a big one. I think that's a WWE signee right there.
Yeah.
I'll help you out, Ethan, because I think this might be the case, but it makes me wonder. I'm like, where's Dr. Britt Baker been? And
thank you, John.
I think her time. It's probably one of those cases too, where somebody in AEW just disappears for the remainder of their contract. It's up, and then maybe they make the jump. So I could see that for her. That would be big.
The funny parts where we're recording, like us were talking about how, like, there was a scene there, John, where Siri Deep came out on the ramp and Baker's on the ramp and on the ring. She's like, we don't care. Like, I don't care about you. I'm just like, bro.
I mean, I know she's being a heel, but it's like, come on.
But then haven't seen her since that whole incident happened.
Yeah, then there was the stuff that happened behind the scenes, and then
her and Jimmy Hare not talking.
So she got blackballed by AEW, and she just kind of disappeared into the wind.
Well, that and the breakup with Adam Cole, I guess, probably makes things a little awkward.
Yeah, but I think they're
to an extent.
Yeah, I mean they're both professionals though, so I think they'd be fine with it. But I kind of, and I mentioned this before we started recording too, it's like I kind of wonder where, if Britt were to sign with WWE, I'm assuming they'd probably put her in NXT first, just to show her, the WWE way. But I wondered like how high up the totem pole she would go, because her promo skills, obviously, since the Jericho cruise, when Tony Schiavone essentially just made her look like absolute garbage more than she already did herself, her promos went to 100. and she was great. But her in-ring stuff always felt very average to me. So I wonder, with how athletic all of the NXT women are, even Raw and SmackDown, it's like, how far can she go? And will it be a good fit? Will they sign her even? Or will she just kind of just fade away and just focus on her dentistry for the rest of her life?
I'm okay with that.
Wow, Ethan, tell me how you really feel.
I think if she were to, NXT would be the right place to start to hopefully, even if her work is, by some average at best, that's a chance to improve that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think so. That would be I would think the way for her to go if she did it.
I could see her going there for a year or so maybe, and then
Move up, yeah.
get the call up. Because I know it's funny because our Fakir said that I think they offered her to go on the main roster immediately. She's like, no, let me go to NXT first, and then I'll go up. Yep. So good for her though. But yeah, I think Baker. We all know she might be going soon, but who knows?
Yeah, I was just Googling contracts that are up, and actually, a lot of these people don't let their contracts. They don't let it known that their contracts are coming up.
No, because the Fightful basically tells everybody.
But I'm looking at PW Unlimited right now, and this is who I have confirmed right now for 25.
That's not knock, by the way. I was just being serious.
Through 25, the only three that come up, and again, confirmed, Karrion Kross, summer 25, The Miz through 25, Dragon Lee through 25, AEW, Danhausen, early to mid 25, Menard and Parker, August 25, Renee Paquette, fall 25, Chris Jericho through at least the end of 25.
Ooh, Jericho being a free agent at the end of the year.
Jericho, I thought he signed a ridiculous contract.
Lifetime contract?
Yeah, I thought I could be misremembering, but
No, Joe. I think you're onto something though about that because I think I said the same thing, but I mean it's Jericho. Who fucking knows? At this
he might have signed. This might be the end of his original contract.
That's true. Yeah. He might have because I know most of AEW's contracts were 5 years. That's what Tony signed everybody for. But he might have signed Jericho for a much longer one.
Sorry,
and even no, that's fine. Even if he's not, like, I wonder if he doesn't re-sign with AEW, does he have one last run in WWE, or do they just have him in because if it's at the end of the year, it's perfect time for the Hall of Fame ceremony for next year.
He said he doesn't want to go. He said he'll pull. Who knows what the Rock and Roll Hall?
That was the. Who the hell is it? The Sex Pistols.
Yeah, he's basically said, "I'm just gonna pull them and just not show up." He doesn't want to go in there.
Fair enough.
I'm like, you know what? Can't fault him. True. But I could see him going back to WWE if he wanted to, but I don't know. I think he might stay in AEW. Just if he retires, do like commentary, please no, or producing.
But he's the learning tree.
No, fuck that learning tree.
Guys,
I have to admit that
shit down.
His entrance theme has been so stuck in my head. I actually had to buy the song because I don't know. I like it. Spotlight by Judas, good song. Love it.
But I do miss Judas though.
I don't know if they're touring anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, they are.
Are they? Okay.
Fozzy, yeah, they're touring a lot.
I don't follow rock, bands touring, so I wasn't sure.
I do. I got like 3 shows I'm finally gonna get tickets for this year. So actually, it's funny. Side note, definitely see my favorite band in September, and I think it's on a Wednesday. I'm like, damn it, I gotta go out late on a Wednesday, but I'm like, but it is Dream Theater for the 11th time, so I'll be missing Dynamite that night. So overall, I think the argument here is, despite the quality of the products, they've gotten way better with signing. Way better with signing. Because even with and I know we still have a lot of non-competes, a lot of those non-competes or other people who have been let go, we haven't seen just jump to AEW.
Right.
Or TNA. We have a couple, but they're very picky choosy right now, which is good.
Shotzi's doing GCW right now. I'll bring that up because Sam actually just mentioned that. I'm glad Sam brought that up actually. Jericho Jackson, by Maria Shea, she's repping GCW mid-July, I think I seen. She's wrestling Moss Slavich there. Who else ran out?
Elena Black.
Oh, the NXT.
Cora Jade.
Oh, yeah, she's doing a lot of GCW right now. Yeah, I haven't seen anything from her yet.
Yeah.
Keyword yet. Oh no, sorry, I lied. She's gonna be a Bloodsport.
That doesn't surprise me.
My bad.
Yeah,
but it's Bloodsport. We all know that's gonna happen. Sonya Deville, I think she's doing podcasting stuff right now.
Yeah.
Dakota Kai, Katana Chance, Kaden Carter, Braun Strowman. I just pulled the list up. Javier Bernal, Eddie Thorpe, Oro Mensa. I hope I pronounced it right. Danny Palmer, Gigi Dolan, the Kofi brothers, Wolfgang, and then Riley Osborne.
Sam, did you say coffee or Kofi?
Probably mispronounced. I said coffee. It was Kofi, right?
No, it's Coffee Brothers. Yeah.
No, you're right for a second.
Yeah, from Gallus.
You're right. Coffee.
Yep.
Well, actually, Joe Coffey did an interview with Malcolm, and he said, I think he's still stuck here.
Yeah,
I think.
there's some visa issues. So yeah, like they're stuck in the States.
Gigi Dolan presented Kelly's doing wrestling stuff. She just wrestled. Jesus, that's a loud motorcycle. Zachary Wenster at the Wrestling Revolver, and then her patella popped out, and people thought she injured herself again. But she said it does that all the time, kind of thing. So, yeah, because everyone she says like, guys, like it happens all the time. It's fine, like kind of situation. Yeah, there's a lot. I know Joe Cobb said he has to wait for his visa. Braun Strowman, never heard anything
It's
from
weird
him
with
yet,
Braun because I read something that even though they released him because his contract was so massive, they might bring him back for like 3 or 4 months at a time, and then kind of let him go again, and kind of like have that standing thing where he comes in and is like, I'm a monster among monsters. I'll beat up people and get beat up, and then I'll disappear for a few more months.
Legend.
I mean, hey, it works. I mean, the stuff that Braun did with Bronson Reed was probably some of his best work. It made Bronson legitimately look like a monster. And now he's with Seth and with Paul Heyman and Braun, and they're going places. I'm really sad that he broke his ankle in War Games because he was on a massive high. Like they had that rocket strapped to his back. He was going. But now you have him and Braun. If you put them in the tag team division, forget it. They'll be tag team champions real quick, and they can run for a long time. Whenever they finally turn on Seth, both of them are going to be instant heavyweight championship, material.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, let us, as I'm going to switch topics, somebody we haven't heard from in a while is Cameron Grimes. What's that man doing?
Oh, yeah.
Wrestling for Daylock Pro.
Has he finally gone to the moon?
Don't tempt him. He might.
Yep.
What else? Yeah, he's doing a lot of indies right now. A lot of them, a good portion of them are. Tegan Knox, Nixon Newell is doing some stuff too. A lot of them are launching OnlyFans, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Make your money. Do what you got to do. If you feel comfortable with doing that, good for you. No judgment here. I know a lot of people are. I'm sure the comments and the things that people have said about doing that. You know what? God bless them. They'll make your money. Look at what Mandy Rose did when she left. She made like $1 million in a month. Like,
if you're
oh my God, Mandy Rose! I was like, call the IRS. I was like, my goodness. It's like, look what's happening here.
Shotzi Blackhurst too busy doing deathmatch stuff.
I heard Matt Cardona for the Deathmatch King title now. Oh, the
No,
God title.
Indie
That's
God.
right.
Come
Sorry.
on. I know
Oh,
he's
yeah,
got so many
no,
nicknames.
Christ.
But Shotzi's because she came back during one of the G7 tournaments there, and then everybody's like, "Oh shit, Shotzi! Yay!"
I also saw a thing recently that Eugene made a return for like a one night only
I
thing.
saw that.
I did.
And I was like, "What?" Had the theme,
Yeah,
had the Titantron. I was like, "Wait a minute."
he was at
It was
Rev Pro
okay.
doing their Rumble match, and then everybody's like, "Oh shit, it's Eugene!"
Yeah, well,
Oh my
look,
God.
I think somebody that's doing it big right now. Well, as far as a former wrestler, look what Maven Hoffman's doing with his YouTube channel.
Yes.
Yes,
He's doing super well now.
Yeah.
For a guy like for a guy that was like he wasn't going to be world champion, but watching wrestling as a kid, I remember Maven, and now he's like he's doing really well. Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned Maven.
Yeah.
In one of his videos where he talks about when he came back to wrestling, myself and our friend of the channel, Mark, are actually in the video. So we're on his channel
Nice.
forever and ever.
yeah.
But yeah, I got to meet him.
The
He was
forbidden.
a fantastic guy. He actually got to wrestle one of my friends, Anthony Green, because Anthony was like
Hell yeah.
Maven was one of his like childhood heroes and stuff like that. I always loved Maven. I loved Tough Enough back in the day. I thought it was a great concept. Maven winning, he had the theme song. It wasn't the greatest theme song, but it worked. His elimination of Undertaker in the Rumble, and then getting absolutely destroyed right after that. Then the following year, when he went heel, he tried to do it again, and Taker's like, "Nah, screw you, kid, get out of here." But like, I don't know. His promos were horrible, but he could wrestle. Well, he could wrestle, and so it worked out. But you're right. His YouTube channel is phenomenal. I thoroughly enjoy watching his videos.
Yeah.
I find a lot of X30 because even Steve Richards doing that.
I love his channel too. He's doing good.
He's got some stuff. Somebody else. I know Abyss said he's not wrestling anymore. He fully could, but we probably knew.
Yeah.
Because Fight Plan where he's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm good.
I mean, he doesn't. I mean, now he's immortalized in WWE 2K games. He was actually part of the recent DLC, so we have an actual TNA wrestler, former TNA wrestler in a WWE game as Abyss with his TNA song, and it's just it's great. It's just I loved Abyss back in the day, and then when he kind of like transitioned into Joseph Park, his what was his brother, I think it was. That was a fun gimmick too.
Yeah.
And then he goes to WWE, becomes a producer. Had a couple on-screen stuff as Joseph Park with AJ Styles. So for those people who watched TNA back in the day, you're like, oh my god. But yeah, I'm very happy for him. He's been doing a great job. And there's been some, I can't remember. He's been doing really good job as production. Like I can't remember the names of the matches off the top of my head, but some of the ones recently that have been really good have been because of him.
The Hell in the Cell.
Yes, that's right. That was I mean, if you're gonna have a match with Abyss being your producer, that's probably it.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess before we close out here, I know we wanted to. John actually brought this one up here. And we really haven't even actually discussed it. So currently, and John, I'll let you take the lead on this one. Currently, AEW has a lawsuit on their hands involving Jon Moxley.
Yes, I have it up for you here really quick. So if I don't know how much you guys know about it, but Sam and I had talked about it briefly over the week. But yeah, it's pretty much a lawsuit against AEW and Jon Moxley. And I have it for you really quick. It's just a quick excerpt. A production crew member named Christopher Dispenza filed a lawsuit on May 30th, 2025 against AEW and Jon Moxley, real name Jonathan Good. The lawsuit includes allegations of civil assault, battery, and negligence. Dispenza says Moxley injured him during a match against Kenny Omega on May 10th, 2023 on AEW Dynamite from Little Caesars Arena in Detroit. The script called for Moxley to grab a screwdriver that was being held by Dispenza. However, Moxley is accused of going into business for himself and shoving Dispenza down to the ground, causing numerous injuries that required surgery. Have any of you guys have you guys seen the video?
Yes.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So right off the bat, I think from the video, you really wouldn't. Back then, nobody would remember that. Like just by that shove, and like nobody would have thought anything of it. But apparently, what this Christopher Dispenza is saying is, he sustained extensive injuries as a result of the unscripted assault. Culminating in surgical procedure of cervical spine surgery, shoulder surgery, and other serious injuries that necessitated significant medical treatment. So,
I thought that. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, like, just that from just, I'm trying to see both sides of it here, because first of all, Moxley was in the wrong, because you should not put your hands on somebody that's not in on what's happening.
Right.
And so, like, this Christopher Dispenza, he didn't know, essentially. He was not a wrestler. He didn't know how to take a bump.
Right.
But I think Sam mentioned to me, he's like, why, how come this took 2 years to come up again?
That's true too.
So
money.
so that's, I'm wondering what you guys think about, what your thoughts are on it.
I remember seeing the video when it resurfaced, and obviously, like, you're right, like, Mox shouldn't have pushed him, but looking at it, the way he fell, it didn't look like it would have caused all the injuries that he said that he sustained. But then again, things can look different than actually how it was. But yeah, when I first saw that, I was the same thing that Ethan said. I'm like, oh God, is this a money grab? Like, what the hell are they trying to do?
Well, I think the timing of it is interesting too, because look what just happened to Liv Morgan on Raw.
True.
Well, because it brings some more perspective into it, because nobody did anything wrong with whether it was her or Kairi Sane, and she fell as she should.
Yep.
And it just happened. Her shoulder just popped out.
Yep.
It was just a freak thing. So I'm wondering, like, with this guy, like, would he just have like just back problems, shoulder problems, and just one shove just kind of just
set it all in motion.
Set it off. Yeah.
Broke the camera. But, I was going to ask what, because I know they tell us surgeries, but John already brought it up. So thank you, John, for that one. I don't know. I don't get it. But, I mean, should Mox know? Like, I mean, at least you should have told him if you were going to, like, push him. Be like, hey, like, do that. But it's because when I first watched the video, like, it looked like he barely touched him at first. When I first seen it. And then when I went back, I'm like, okay, let me take another look. And the way he fell too, like kind of went like this, then he rolled. I was just like, okay, like, I mean, did he need to push him? No, like, that was kind of dumb. And then now all of a sudden, I don't know. I think personally, my opinion, I think the money grab. And it's kind of funny how it's after the Liv Morgan situation too, like John brought up.
Yeah, I think, and this is where I think we all agree on here. I think, and from my understanding, they technically have forms they have to fill out where if you want to be like involved, like you need to sign something, and you can't like not just touch anybody. Like you have to make sure that they're like cleared to be involved or something like that. The other thing here that's interesting, I'm reading this from the takedown on Sports Illustrated. A lawsuit alleges that Moxley had a history of disciplinary issues before this incident involving other people while under AEW's employee agency and or contractual relationship. Also states that past disciplinary, I am like stroking out here, offenses by Moxley include a documented history of unpredictability as well as a lack of control by defendant AEW, all of which were known or should have been known to defend AEW at the time of this assault. Next paragraph. However, multiple high-level AEW sources with knowledge of Moxley's work and history with the company, and not speaking in an official capacity on AEW's behalf, told the Takedown on Sports Illustrated that they were unaware of any history of disciplinary issues with Moxley, noting he is respected within the promotion by talent and management. One referred to him as locker room leader and disputed the characterization of Moxley given in the lawsuit. So, I don't know what you want to take out of those two paragraphs. Do you have people lying for Moxley so he can stay on top? Or do you go with they're just trying to make something up?
It depends. I mean, not everybody's going to like somebody, so they may be rubbed the wrong way by Mox. So they jumped at the chance to throw him under the bus. And the high-ranking officials, I'm sure, is probably Kenny and the Bucks. Probably, protecting their guy.
Tony.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really heard anything about that. Like, he's had other issues. I know he went through some personal shit. So
yes,
maybe if anything happened, it might have been during that time when he took all that extended time off. He also had the issue where he, what the hell was it that he ended up getting? He ended up getting an infection in his arm that almost killed him, and that sent him spiraling.
MRSA?
So,
yeah.
Is that what it was?
Stafford,
you don't know like what his mental state was. So yeah, maybe shit did happen, but they kind of, I don't know. I'm just speculating. I have no idea.
Yeah. So my thought with that would be, if he had that kind of problem, despite whether you like Moxley or not, like, I'll use the Bucks and Kenny for an example. Well, I'll stick with the Bucks because I don't know, Kenny was come back from injury. But if you go back to the Brawl Out, from there on out, and even slightly before, there were people saying things, they had issues with the Bucks. Outside of him going through his sobriety.
That too, yep.
That was the big one. Yeah, he left because he went to go get sober.
That's right. That's what
I can't think of any. I don't think I've ever seen somebody say, "Yeah, we got problems with Moxley in the back."
No, agreed. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be curious to see how this plays out. I mean, as I was looking for this article, they still have a few other lawsuits that are currently pending. Obviously, the Kevin Kelly one.
Yeah.
They have one with the Tate twins.
I think for this one, because this Christopher Despensa, he didn't even work directly for AEW. He works for the production company that helps out AEW with their television tapings. So I see this as something where I don't think it'll end up in court. I think Tony Khan will probably just like hand him money and just say, go away.
What does he ask? He's only asking for 20,000 too, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think I did see that number. I don't think that's what he's asking for. I think I don't know the exact terminology, but it's like excess up to 25,000, some legal verbatim there. But I don't think that's what he's asking for. Because if that was what he was asking for, Tony Khan would be like, there you go.
Right. Yeah. He'll make more interest tomorrow on that.
Yeah. So it's interesting how a very, very minor thing from 2 years ago is now suddenly brought up. But yeah.
Consent, folks. Always consent.
Yeah.
Oh, right, guys. We are wrapping up for time here, so we're gonna start here. Ethan, where can people find you at?
Everywhere. Just joking. You can follow me on Twitter's wrestling_fan_9, pwmedia.com, buysome.net, turnbuckletimes.com, and what's the hell one I write for? ProWrestlingWire.net, and of course ATR for the Japan stuff.
Scott, can they find you?
Pretty much everywhere as Scotty J Stream. Due to double booking on both Sam and my part, we will not be live streaming Saturday night's main event on the 12th. So we will be back the next time. They will be they haven't announced it. Obviously, I know the one in December, but I'm assuming we'll have one in the fall at some point. So we'll be back for that. And life's just been crazy, so I haven't been able to lock down my next interview for Catching a View from Above the Ring, but that's still in the works. But yeah, there might be some other stuff down the pipeline. I got some wrestling packs I'd like to open up, so we'll see. We'll see.
Ooh, all right, and John, last but not least, where can people find you at?
So it looks like I'm gonna have to jump back on the X train.
Nice.
Well, now I think it wasn't even called that when I stopped using. I think it was still Twitter.
Oh my god, it was still Twitter. Yeah.
It's still Twitter. So I might have to resurrect that so people can find me there again. I don't know if you want me to plug it again, Sam.
Always
Plug it again. Yeah. So I've been doing something non-wrestling related, very for a little bit, brand new thing. If you're a fan of Bar Rescue or John Taffer, some friends and I were reviewing every episode of Bar Rescue right now on a podcast called Poor Decisions.
Love it.
What a great name for the show. That's great.
It's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts right now, and yeah, so there'll be more coming from that.
Nice.
Yeah, and you can find me as the SOB official. I also cover the Bedlam Media X account, media_Bedlam. Guys, this week we will be doing our follow-up for Night of Champions. We were thinking about talking about everything going on, but I'm like, by the time it happens, it'll be a non-issue. So maybe we can talk about it on the post-show. So listen to that there. We're on all streaming platforms. Make sure you leave a comment, leave a review. Tell people why Above the Ring Bedlam Media is the podcast if you're choosing why they should listen to us as well. Guys, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I'm going to push TikTok so hard right now. 500. This is my goal, guys. 500 by September 1st. So I get to. And if you do so, you will get a pound of Ethan's flesh for our Clone Ethan 2026 campaign, guys. If you want a piece of flesh, subscribe on TikTok. Sorry, buddy. It's for the cause. It's for the brand. We are out of time, guys. As always, do not forget to join the Bedlam.
Thanks, guys.